Hey, what's going on, No Nation? It's CJ Wilson here. Another episode of Dope Talk. You know, big time win last night against Southern Miss. Going to jump into a recap of the game, a little bit of recruiting talk, and then, of course, we're going to open up the floor to some callers just to talk about the game, what they thought in regards to the Southern Miss game. Pretty dominant game. Winning 66-13. A lot higher. Well, not necessarily a lot higher, but I think I had it like 50 something to 10, if I'm not mistaken. So around in the same ballpark, but real dominant win for FSU. Before we get started, want to jump into some super chat donations that we had to the Cash App / Venmo. As you guys know, told you as far as the YouTube super chats, we got a little bit further more to go to get monetized. So in the meantime, we're doing this. I missed them last show. My apologies. So I'm going to go ahead and get them out the way right now. Shout out to Dr. Pierre, man, for the super chat donation. Rodney Troop also appreciate you, man. How do you think this was his question? How do you think the freshman did? It's kind of ironic that I'm answering this question right now, being that the freshmen played a lot more this past game versus LSU. I thought the freshmen played amazing last night. I came away very, and I'm going to talk about a little bit more further in my recap, but I came away very impressed with the freshmen. The future is very, very bright for FSU. A lot of guys played. I mean, down there the whole second half, we had younger guys in. So for them to get those valuable snaps in game two, leading up for the rest of the season, it's going to pay dividends. Like I think a lot of those guys are probably going to play some key snaps throughout the season. So to get their feet wet a little bit against Southern Miss was definitely big time. So yeah, I love how the freshmen look. When Mike Norvell and staff was raving about, the freshmen and the freshman class and things like that, and really not missing, you see why they're so high on those guys. A lot of key pieces to move, a lot of pieces you could use, moving forward that you could work with moving forward. Frederick Drayton, really appreciate the donation, man. So keep going and keep up the good work. Appreciate that. So again, if you guys want to donate to the show, the Cash App and Venmo is right there. If you want to donate, also, well, not necessarily donate, you're gonna have a super chat question to answer the answer specifically. Go ahead and do that, and we will definitely read them live on air. So let's jump right into it, man. Just to recap the game, pretty dominant effort. 166-13. It was kind of shaky at first, especially offensively. The first quarter was pretty shaky. Jordan Travis, he was off a little bit rhythm wise with some throws. Offensive line, pass rush wise, Southern Miss was getting back there a little bit on pass rush and shaking things up for us and making Jordan Travis scramble a little bit more than we wanted to at that point in time. Well, hats off to Southern Miss. I want to give them credit. Their defense played pretty damn good within that first quarter. Those guys really, we didn't have too many guys really flying open. They played pretty tight, played good in run support and pass rushing downs as well. So the Southern Miss defense wasn't that bad. Of course, you can look at the scoreboard and things like that, but especially after that first quarter, they made things pretty tough for us and made things uncomfortable. Now we did make things a lot harder on ourselves with a lot of, like you say, missed balls and some drops. Johnny Wilson had a horrible game, maybe his worst game in the FSU uniform. A lot of drop balls on key downs too, third downs and things like that. Just got to get better. Got to get better. Said this last week, the inconsistency from the LSU game and kind of carried over to this Southern Miss game. So yeah, definitely got to get better. Did hear that he's dealing with a little shoulder injury, but that's still no excuse for a lot of those drop balls that we had. So we got to get a lot better in that department. Just catching the ball and stop making it hard on ourselves and converting on third downs and moving the chains. Because a lot of those drops, a lot of them were downs by Jordan Travis as well, dropped right in the breadbasket. A couple guys on the highlight that kind of stood out. I like Deuce Spann a lot, man. Deuce Spann looked very good. I think Deuce Spann has a nice role within his offense. Made a couple plays downfield. Would have had a touchdown. He did. I guess you could call that a drop, but he had to kind of come back to the ball. If Jordan Travis leads him with that throw, this kind of goes back to my point about Travis being a little shaky in the first quarter. If he leads him with that throw, it's a walk-in touchdown. Deuce Spann runs right up under the ball. Easy pitch and catch. But I like what we did. What he showed me. The end around was pretty good. Caught a couple passes downfield. Ran some nice routes. So shout to Deuce Spann for his progression, getting better and better. We know the athletic ability, size wise. It's a speedster at that. So if he could get the nuances of the game of being a receiver down, He could be a valuable weapon for us, and it's kind of showing um, with him getting these reps within the same game. Got some reps with LSU as well, so I think Deuce Spann is going to be within the receiver rotation for sure. And I kind of spoke about the pass rush being a little, well, the pass pro being a little shaky and things like that. And also the snaps are kind of off too. You got to realize the starting center Maurice Smith was out this game. Darius Washington started over at center, so the timing was off a little bit as well. So that's something we got to take account for. But overall, though, offense played pretty well, especially once we got things clicking. Darren Williamson also he made a couple big plays too. It's good to see him flash. I know Mike Norvell and Ron Dugan spoke on him in the past a lot about all the potential in the world, how he has NFL potential and things like that. But we haven't really seen it due to injury. So I'm glad to have him healthy and out there making plays. It just shows how deep that receiver room is and how we boasted about the receiver room over the off season, things like that, and just showing how we want to have one of the better receiver rooms within the country. That depth shows that. So when you have a guy like Johnny Wilson, who top two receiver on the team, things like that, have an off night, you're able to sit him and have some other guys come in, and we really not miss a beat at receiver. So that's a very good thing moving forward, the receiver room. So again, hats off to Ron Dugans and the efforts he put in on the recruiting trail and just flipping that room. Because you go back a couple of years ago, excuse me, that room was terrible to say the least, right? We got a lot better within that room. Even Ron Dugans kind of admitted it, like he had really nothing to work with once he got in. Just give me some time to get some guys in, you'll see the results, and we're definitely seeing the results. So definitely shout out to Dugans for doing his thing and coaching those guys up as well. Keon Coleman, what can I say about Keon Coleman, man? The kid is special. Dynamic playmaker. Just looks different on the field. And to kind of see it, in person, things like that, it just looks different. Big physical guy, speedster, athletic, quick. That catch he had on, I forget, it was third and long or fourth and long or something like that, where he caught it on the sideline. The defender was literally right there, made a quick move on the defender, and then hurdled over the safety. Um, on his way close to being a touchdown. The next play we gave him a touchdown. But yeah, it just shows how athletic he is. And you guys got to remember, Keon was a basketball player too, man. One of the reasons we kind of didn't get him out of high school is because he wanted to play at that point in time, play basketball and football. So he went to Michigan State, and he actually played basketball at Michigan State. You guys remember that video in the preseason where Mike Norvell brought the team over for dinner, and he was out there, windmill dunking in jeans and stuff. So you kind of know the athleticism that we have. So to see that on display was pretty amazing. I think Keon Coleman, dynamic playmaker. He's definitely receiver one, has a chance to bolster his draft stock a lot, which he has, and also compete for the for all season, well, not necessarily all season honors after the season. All American type of honors, Blinthacall type of honors. So if we keep doing what we're doing on the field as far as the team product, and he keeps producing, he'll be in line for a lot of awards down the stretch. Defense looked amazing. Defense played very well, very well. Excuse me, very well, excellent. Well, one last point I want to point out on offense. We got to get better on. We have to get better on the money downs. Third downs were atrocious. Like I said, we had a couple of drops of things like that. We went four for 12 yesterday against on third downs against Southern Miss, but also on the flip end, fourth down, and this is kind of something I want to talk about as well. Fourth down, we looked pretty well. We did amazing actually. We went 4 for 5 on fourth down, so it's like a tale of two cities in regards to your third down conversions and your fourth down conversions. But you guys kind of know third down conversions are kind of bleak with Norvell because he's a riverboat gambler, and a lot of those times he set up those third down plays to go for it on fourth down. But Norvell was very aggressive. I was that caught my attention how aggressive he was in this game in regards to just going for it on certain downs, especially when the field position wasn't really in our favor on those fourth downs. But again, he went 4 for 5 on them. But yeah, he showed me a lot how aggressive he was in the Southern Miss game, and I'm not sure what the combination of that was. Was it not really want to play with his food and get the game over with, but just being that confident in the defense and what they put on the field, and knowing that hey, no matter what situation I put them in, they'll still be able to hold their own against Southern Miss, which they definitely did because the defense played lights out. Defense played amazing against Southern Miss. They're rarely on the field, got the field a lot. Wasn't any long methodical drives with Southern Miss. Again, they didn't play with their food at all. They got the field pretty quickly. Aside from a couple penalties, that was pretty much the majority of the drives prior to the younger guys getting in. We had constant pressure. Even though we only had 2 sacks, don't be fooled by the numbers in regards to the sack total. Wiles was under constant pressure all night, which is a good thing, something we love to see. Secondary, they played amazing. He was only 11 for 34, less than 200 yards passing, if I'm not mistaken. So again, big time, and also a pick, and that was a pick six by Jerry and Jones. So yeah, great job by the defense. They played amazing. Played amazing. The whole that quarterback to 11-34, and then have Frank Gore Jr. He didn't get going at all. He's their bread and butter, one of the best running backs in the nation, if we're being quite honest. Didn't do much against FSU. And their offensive line isn't bad. Our defensive line was just that dang good all night. So hats off to Adam Fuller. I think the defense played amazing, amazing ball, really amazing. Love what I saw from the defense. We only gave up 10 points within the second unit. That's another thing I want to talk about the young guys. I kind of said on the last podcast, I want to get a comfortable lead against Southern Miss so we can see these guys in action and see what the hype is with all the freshmen and things like that. And that's exactly what we did. I think Jordan Travis probably played one drive within the second half, and the rest of that it was just pretty much young guys. Tate Rodemaker looked pretty damn good. I like what I saw out of Tate. Made some good plays. Again, for a backup quarterback, I know people want to get rid of certain players, certain players, things like that for the shiny new toy, right? But I'm cool with Tate Rodemaker being the backup quarterback in hell going into next season being the front runner for the starter. I mean, he's paid his dues, and also he answered the bell last year against Louisville when when he was needed. So he showed me that he can make those plays, and even throughout the season last year, he made those plays. So to see him get in against Southern Miss, first pass play was a touchdown, 40-yard pass to Douglas. Marquise looked damn good running down the field too at that size. So again, very good job from Tate Rodemaker coming in and doing this thing. Like what I saw from Kyle Morlock too, the tight end, made some plays downfield. But some of the younger guys, seeing Hakeem Williams get in pretty early. Actually, I think it was like the second quarter when Hakeem first got his action. Played throughout the game, made a catch, looked pretty good. Vandrevius Jacobs, the explosive receiver that we all been hearing about since spring practice, got him a touchdown and looked pretty fluid as well. Keziah Holmes, he looked damn good. Another running back that looked pretty good in his reserve role. All the running backs look good, to be honest with you. Keziah looked pretty good. Trey Benson had a hell of a game. Lawrence Philly had a good game. Yeah, so really good job by the running backs all together. But I do want to see Keziah moving forward, getting more reps. I think we will see that, as the season progresses. He'll definitely start getting meaningful snaps for FSU in regards to running back room. Rodney Hill has some explosive runs as well. Let's talk about the defense specifically within the young guys. It was especially my secondary. Adam Fuller said we hit on pretty much every newcomer in the secondary within this 2023 cycle. I believe he's absolutely right, 100% right. If you guys look at the kids that's played, right? Conrad Hussey, he had a chance at the interception, dropped the ball through his hands. But it was at one point in time where the entire secondary is nothing but freshmen. Jabril Rawls looked pretty good. Edwin Joseph looked damn good. Had the interception that he could have had in the fourth quarter, went right through his hands. You got to capitalize on that. But again, you love to get these kids reps within that time frame. Like I said, Conrad Hussey, Quindarius Jones. I like this kid a lot. Looks very good out of Mississippi. Real fluid, big guy. I think we hit on all these secondary guys. KJ Kirkland looked pretty good as well. So, like I said, it was a point in time when literally the entire secondary was true freshmen. Blake Nicholson, Blake Nicholson is a player, man. He's a player. Real nice athlete, fluid, physical kid, runs in space. I think we definitely caught a gem and hit one in Blake Nicholson. So shout out to Randy Shannon and Derek Ray for that recruitment because I like this kid a lot. He had athletic, and he had one play down the sideline that shows how athletic he was. You've seen the running back clips and things like that, where he pretty much caught the interception, tried to get his feet in bounds, but he was out a little bit. But he ran with the wheel route, located the ball up in the air, caught it like it was not like a natural. Tried to get feet in bounds, but he was still he was out. But just seeing that play live shows the athleticism of Blake Nicholson. I think and also Cryer, the Northwestern transfer linebacker, he got some snaps in as well. So I think we got some young pieces that we could work with, and we definitely hit on all of our 2023 recruiting class. That's one thing I will give this staff. They are evaluators, great evaluators when it comes to the high school ranks, the JUCO ranks, whatever it may be. Ashland Barker. He played pretty well as well. Also, number 27, the safety, big physical kid. So I like what I saw from the secondary a lot. Not necessarily just the secondary, just the young guys in general. Only gave up 10 points within that second half with the second unit, which I'm okay with. That's not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. And especially when you factor in that majority of Southern Miss starters played throughout the whole game. So again, all in all, 66-13 win, which is good, but in it's a good thing because FSU can still be better, right? When you look at the score and see 66-13, like damn, that's a dominant game from FSU. But if you actually watch the game, break some things down, you can say, well, we still get better here, we still could get better there, and that just shows you the true potential of this team and how really good this team could be. It's still a work in progress. We're still working on some things. We got a long season to go. And that's what you want for a football team. That's what happened last year, to be quite honest. You want to get better throughout the season. Throughout the season, you want to get better. And towards the end of the season, you want to be playing your peak ball. So for FSU to be looking like this early in the season is good. But like you say, we got a long road to go and we can get a lot better, which is kind of scary for this FSU team because they look damn near dominant at this point in time. 66 points, and they could have scored a lot more, if we're being quite honest. So all in all, really dominant game, and also a good showing at Doak Campbell Stadium, man. The atmosphere was electric. One thing, let's stay away from the 8:30 games on ACC Network, things like that. I mean, the game was too damn long. It was like 2.5 hours within the first half, and the game didn't end after 12 o'clock. So let's stay away from that. But all in all, it was a very good showing at Doak Campbell Stadium. The fans came out, nice crowd, and also yeah, just a nice crowd, and the team deserved it, especially coming off that big win against LSU. So shout out to the fans that came out to Doak Campbell Stadium to support. It was a pretty good atmosphere for the home opener. But again, all in all, we did what we were supposed to do. 66-13, I cannot complain. The spread was 31 points. They covered that with ease. So shout out to Mike Norvell and staff for staying focused and keeping the foot on the gas and just looking at Mike in general, he has a different focus about this year. I guess he realizes how good this team could be potential-wise and wants that team to reach that potential. But he was really locked in within this game. Like I said, it was kind of interesting to see how aggressive he was, especially in certain situations, going for it on fourth down. I don't know if it was a combination of just – I know it's a combination of what he – we've seen it over the years. That's pretty much what Mike, the type of coach Mike is. But it was times within – we were kind of on our side of the field and we were in some long fourth down situations. But again, I don't know if it's a combination of him just being confident in defense, which they definitely dominated, or just trying to work through certain things within this game and fix things. So again, shout out to the Noles for the 66-13 win. Going to jump over to the recruiting efforts. We had some guys that were on campus. That was it was pretty interesting, man. We had a pretty good showing from the recruiting ranks as well. Guys that came out to support FSU and come to the first home game. So we're going to jump into On the Trail, and On the Trail is brought to you by Realtor Jude Paul. Jude is a realtor in Southwest Florida, but he services the entire state of Florida. He's open to taking any buy or selling. If you're trying to buy your home, you're trying to buy a new home or sell your home, definitely contact Jude. He'll take care of you, and he'll also donate 20% of the proceeds back to you. 20% of the closing costs back to you. 20% of the closing costs will go back to you. Again, if you're trying to sell your home or buy a new home, contact Jude, and 20% of the proceeds, I keep saying proceeds, 20% of the closing costs will go back to you guys. Also, like I said, he's a nose, look out for nose. So he's willing to also donate to Battles in regards to any buy or sell that he assists you with. You can contact Jude at 239-321-6994. Again, that's 239-321-6994. contact my guy Jude. He'll take care of you. Let's jump into a couple guys on the trail. First guy I want to talk about is Landon Thomas, five-star tight end commit out of Colquitt. And a lot of people been forgetting about Landon Thomas just from, all the recent buzz, but he kind of got things started back in March, if I'm not mistaken, on the recruiting trail, flipping his commitment from Georgia to FSU. Big time athlete, big time prospect, makes a lot of plays in space. But again, he stated that he shut down his recruitment 100%, which I kind of figured. But for him to make that statement, just kind of validates the efforts well, not necessarily, well, the efforts, of course, from the coaches on the recruiting trail, but also how locked in he's been since making his commitment flipping his commitment from Georgia back to FSU. He was also on campus for the game. So to have Landon Thomas, just think about the weapons and I speak about this all the time, the weapons that this 2024 recruiting class has. Right, you have Luke Cromahawk, the all-world quarterback. I think he has all the tools to be a first-round draft pick. Right, he's a winner as well. State championship, won a state championship last year. Do you have Landon Thomas, big time tight end that can make pretty much all type of plays in the middle, as you guys see on the highlights right there. Athletic, can move for a big target. And then you look at the receivers we got within this class, right? Some big time receivers, big time receivers. I like BJ Gibson a lot. Some big time receivers, LaWayne McCoy. So Elijah Moore out of Maryland. He's probably one of my favorite receiver commits. And also, they're still after some big fish and hunting after some guys. So Landon Thomas definitely fits in within this offense. So I think that 2024 recruiting class offensively can be very special. Then you got to factor in the running backs and Cam Davis. Excuse me. You got Cam Davis and Makai Danzey. So you got the physical presence in Cam Davis, and you got the all-world sprinter in Makai Danzey. So offensively, not necessarily this offense, just the 2024 class in general looks pretty good. So to have Landon Thomas on campus again is great for FSU, and to have him shut down his recruitment is pretty good as well. Landon is also doing some recruiting of his own, man. I like this kid a lot. Nye Carr, four-star receiver, committed to Georgia as well. Out of Colquitt, teammates with Landon Thomas. He was on campus for the game. I love this kid film. Big time playmaker. Real explosive, great route runner. Runs after the catch. Really fluid. He's one of my favorite receivers within the 2024 recruiting cycle. I know Jeremiah Smith is head above everyone else, but Nye Carr is definitely on the elite end and one of my favorite kids. Yeah, it makes some explosive plays. But he was on campus as well for the Southern Miss game, and just to see how we passed the ball around and how we got all the receivers involved. I know that probably rubbed him the right way in regards to that. He's been flirting with FSU since the spring, made some visits, and also I think he made an announcement in the spring to take a visit, and he shut his recruitment down completely. But the communication hasn't stopped with FSU, so I guess the recruitment wasn't shut down completely like he stated, but the communication has been pretty fluid. At this point in time, I do think he sticks with Georgia, but if FSU keeps recruiting him, chipping away at him, and keeps putting on this good on-field product and displaying these receivers with this quarterback, and you have a guy like Landon Thomas in his ear, and Luke Cromahawk, I'm pretty sure he's recruiting him as well. You never know. So we'll see how that plays out. But big time receiver prospect, Nye Carr, he was on campus for the Southern Miss game. So to have him on campus and see that atmosphere and a dominating performance by FSU can only help their chances for the possible flip down the stretch. We'll see if official visit gets lined up for after the season. But again, regardless, I like Nye Carr a lot. Big time playmaker. This is an interesting prospect as well. Another teammate out of Colquitt. One thing about Colquitt is loaded, man. Those guys got talent. Tyshawn Reed, three-star defensive end. He's committed to Duke. 6'4", 225 pounds, has really nice burst, plays the run very well, physical kid, high motor. I like this kid a lot. I know we've been monitoring this recruitment and haven't officially offered, but they've been evaluating the kid and recruiting him. Hell, you guys know Mike Elko is a defensive guru. So if he could take him at Duke, I know it's Duke, but at the same time, it isn't the same Duke. And I trust Mike Elko's eye as far as recruitment. You look at the film, I like him. So I wouldn't be upset at all for the take of Tyshawn Reed if we do pursue and offer this kid. Like I said, high motor. He could be a valuable piece. I think he's an under the radar type of kid that was a great find by Elko. But again, I think he could definitely play for FSU and be a contributor for FSU. The 3-star ranking, that's what it is. But you guys know me. Stars are cool, but I look at film first and foremost, and his film definitely checks the box. So Tyshawn Reed is a guy to monitor moving forward as we go down the stretch for this 2024 recruiting class. Like I stated, Luke Cromwell was on campus, Cam Davis, Makai Dansley, explosive four-star running back out of Florida High, all Russ Sprinter Hill was on campus as well. This is an interesting one. JT Taggart, the son of Willie Taggart, 2025 tight end, he was on campus as well. 6'7", yeah, you heard me right, 6'7", 220 pounds. Of course, he's playing ball in Maryland right now as Coach Taggart is the running back coach for the Baltimore Ravens. But he was on campus for this game. That's going to be one to monitor moving forward. I think he's going to be a blue chip 2025 tight end. So we'll see how that plays out. Ricky Knight, the third, he was on campus as well. Cornerback commit. Naheem Burrows, the elite 2025 receiver out of Jacksonville Bowls. He was on campus. He's a top 50 kid within the 2025 early rankings. Explosive playmaker. He was on campus. Derek Plass, offensive lineman, three-star offensive lineman from Mandarin, 2024. He's currently committed to the Miami Hurricanes. He was on campus as well for the game. Enjoyed his visit. Like we had James Coleman on the last live show, and he said, he's doing this thing at Mandarin. So he rolled over with James Coleman for the game, and FSU's doing a good job recruiting. We'll see how it plays out. I'm pretty sure he'll be back on campus for the Miami game. So yeah, he enjoyed the visit and wants to get back pretty soon. So shout out to Derek Plass, the commit, for being on campus for the Southern Miss game. I want to speak on something real quick. He wasn't on campus or anything like that, but I just want to talk about Jeremiah Smith. Sham and I played a team out of New Jersey on Friday, and they handled business. I think put like 60 points with Jeremiah Smith. He had over 300 yards receiving, guys, and I don't think he played it all in the fourth quarter. Over 300 yards receiving and had 3 touchdowns. So we talk about how good Jeremiah Smith is and things like that. So to see that is pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and didn't even play the third quarter. Didn't play the fourth quarter. That's all we got for On the Trail. It's a couple things I want to highlight really quick. I know I spoke about the stadium renovations in one of our YouTube videos. I just want to give an update in regards to the situation. I got word that there isn't going to be a dome isn't in play for FSU, a field covering. That was false. That FSU isn't in play for a field covering, but they are, of course, in play for the 275 million renovations. But the field covering, that's not going to happen. The construction is supposed to start this November, and it's going to be finished by 2025. It's also going to carry over into the 2024 season, so it's going to be next year. The next year's scene in Doak Campbell Stadium. It's going to be pretty tough, as we know we're going to be going through the renovation. So it's going to be something we've got to push through next year, but it's going to be all worth it. As you guys know, the stadium is in desperate needs of updates. So yeah, and also they're still looking into Wi-Fi, but Wi-Fi is very expensive. So that's one thing we're going to be taking account of. I know people been asking for the Wi-Fi, but they're definitely looking into it. But stadium Wi-Fi is not cheap at all. But yeah, the focus of the new stadium improvements will be the West Bowl in the club level of the South End Zone. Improvements to the West Bowl will include new club seats and the new associate club and a new commissionary and kitchen founder suites. So again, it's going to be putting some new suites within the west sides of the end zone. Now we're going to be taking away some seats in Doak. So we're pretty much going to be the current capacity seating in that area is 5,800. Once the renovations are done, it'll be around 3,500. So we're losing capacity in Doak, but it's for a good cause. The stadium is going to look a lot better come the 2025 season. But you guys got to bear with us for the 2024 season. It's going to be pretty rough. Let's open things up to some callers. I want to talk about a little bit. I know you guys want to chop it up a little bit and see, give your takes for the Southern Miss game and how we're looking for the season. Hell, just look around the country. Alabama lost and things like that. Other teams haven't been looking so good. Well, I'm not going to say looking so good. They just haven't been looking as impressive as us. I think FSU is one of those teams. Was one of the best teams in the country, as the rankings reflect. So, within the first two games of the season, I will argue that no team has looked as good as FSU. So let's go ahead and open up to some callers if we got some people in the chamber. While we wait, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. I saying got a little bit. You guys, hey man, shout out to Anthony Johnson, man. That's my guy, man. Konnichiwa from Japan. Knowles fan hanging out with us. Ant man, real solid dude, man. Real solid dude. Been kicking it for the last couple of years, man. Tuning in from Japan. Really appreciate that. If you guys want to join the show, hit the comment section and hit that link, and we could talk it out for a second. But yeah, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, it does a world of favors to us. Helps get this information out to other FSU fans on YouTube who like the same type of content you guys like. So let's help get the algorithm going and get this get dope talk pushed out to the right people. I think we got something here. Yeah, that onside kick that kind of goes back to, like I was saying, Mike was he was very aggressive, like very aggressive in this game. I mean, we're gambling a lot, but hell, I like the aggressiveness. That just shows the type of killer instinct, and also it shows the pressure this offense puts on defense. Right, defenses. Right. Um, that's something we kind of fought at Jimbo Fisher with down the stretch of his tenure at FSU, just being too conservative in certain situations. Mike Norvell is complete opposite. He's always on go. He puts pressure on the defense, and pressure on the defense. He's always a move forward, aggressive type of play caller. So as a defensive coordinator, man, that definitely puts you in a bind because you got to account for everything with Mike Norvell because he's an aggressive play caller that doesn't mind going for it. You got Boston College up next week, and then Clemson. Of course, Boston College haven't looked too good at all. They lost at home. They lost the first game of the season, and I think they won by 3 this past Saturday against Holy Cross, FCS team. So again, I think it'll be another game for us to get better with Boston College. Yeah, and then you got to factor in the Clemson game too. It was a tell of two halves. They looked terrible within that first half. Charleston Southern looked like they belonged on the field with Clemson. Now they definitely pulled away in the second half. Ended up putting 60 plus on Charleston Southern as well. But Cade Klubnik had an egregious pick six, and that kind of goes without what I've been hearing about Cade. He's a boom or bust type of guy. I mean, he has that gunslinger mentality. He's going to throw the damn ball and give you an opportunity to pick it off. So I think that'll be something we could probably take advantage of, be opportunistic in regards to catching interceptions because he's going to give us opportunities, man. Oh, yeah, shout out to Jerry and Jones too for the pick six, man. That was beautiful. As a former defensive back, man, I like a kid in the candy store. But yeah, Clemson overall, I think we could. Don't want to jump the gun too quick, but they just haven't looked good, even though they played better in the second half against Charleston Southern. That first half was pretty egregious. I think Charleston Southern kind of gave out the gas too, depth wise. They just didn't have the guys to keep up with Clemson. Reggie, what's good? Hey, Ant, what's good, man? Talk to me.
What's going on, CJ?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. How you
Uh,
feeling?
Congrats on your show, man. I'm really enjoying it. I'm feeling pretty good, man. Can't complain at all. Be flying in home at the end of this month. Just catch some of these games, man. This
Welcome back,
should
man.
be a
Welcome
real
back.
exciting season. So I decided to take advantage of them tickets this year.
Yeah, most definitely. Welcome back, man. Definitely gonna be glad to have you. You got to come pull up to the tailgate for sure, man, so we can hang out. Especially
Oh yeah.
having you back in the country.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm just calling in to talk about just a few things, man. Quick takes on Johnny Wilson, man. He seemed to be able to pull the ball in, but he don't have strong hands once he hits the ground. It's like all his drops are mainly impacts from the ground, and it's like I don't understand it, man. And then they keep trying to give him the ball, but he keep dropping them. It's
Yeah,
like the easy is the easy. He makes the hard catches look easy, and the easy catches he just can't make.
yeah. That's been bothering me too. But I did hear something that may kind of explain that a little bit. Um, he's battling with the shoulder injury currently, so and that's something on him too. You got to kind of protect yourself in those situations. I know he's a 6'7" guy, so a lot of those balls he got to get a little bit low for. But when you're battling with a shoulder injury, you want to protect your shoulder a little bit. So a lot of times, like you said, the ground forces those fumbles. It's him hitting the ground and probably
Right.
favoring that shoulder a little bit and coughing it up. So he's been battling with that, but at the same time, it's still no excuse. You got to catch the ball.
Yeah, you gotta reel them, man. But they did what they supposed to do against Southern Miss. You know, it's not. I think they didn't want to try to get a whole bunch of plays on tape for the upcoming week. So a lot of young guys got to play, and they looking good, man. It's probably about the best team that we don't had probably in the last 10 years almost. They
So
looking really good.
So we know what the Southern Miss coach said prior to the game, right? In regards to FSU, he said this after the game. FSU has a legit chance to win the national title. So I truly agree with you, man. Like FSU, and it's crazy we're saying this, but this team is damn good. Like we really have a shot this year, which is crazy, and we have a lot
Yeah.
to improve on as well.
Yeah, I look at the timeline, man, everybody keep talking about the Porter this and the Porter that. But you can go back and look at Texas A&M who been in the top three for the last 3 or 4 years with high school kids, and it's just not paying off. At some point you just got to get your team to where they need to be and just build from there. But Mike's doing a real good job, man, developing those kids and changing the culture. And yeah, I think we can get in that fold, man. I really do.
Yeah, I think so too. How it's shaking out. As long as we do what we're supposed to do and we don't have any, letdowns that we shouldn't have, which seem like on the sideline, he's been pretty locked in. So I don't foresee that happening. And at the same damn time, these guys came back for a reason, right? You
Right.
got to understand these guys, Jared Verse came back for a reason. Johnny Wilson, Jordan Travis, all those guys came back for a reason. So I don't think they're going to let anything like a Boston College or any game like that to where we can have a possible letdown get in the way of their real goal in regards to, like I say, competing for the playoffs and trying to win that national championship. So I think we're kind of past that in regards to playing down the competition and things like that. These guys seem locked in. Like you say, they came back for a reason. They got a goal in mind.
That's it. Well, I ain't gonna hold you up. Let you get some more callers in. What's up, Harlan? Good to see you. And hey, you guys keep up the good job. Keep doing what you're doing. And I'll
Nah,
see
man.
y'all at the end of the month. Well, the
Appreciate you.
Virginia Tech game will be my first game,
Oh
so
yeah, we gonna hang
I'll
out,
check
man.
you out at the tailgate.
Make sure you pull up to the tailgate. We're gonna hang out a little bit, man. It's gonna be definitely good to see you and welcome back. Appreciate everything you do.
All right, bro. Take it easy.
Yes, sir. Ant Johnson, friend of the show, currently over in Japan with the military, man. Appreciate everything you do. But yeah, Ricky, just in the comment. Yeah, I just got that information as well. He's been dealing with a shoulder injury, but again, we just gotta still gotta catch the ball and be better at protecting your shoulder and getting better. And also, I think Mo Smith should be good for the Clemson game as well. To be honest, I was hearing that he could possibly, if it was a game like Clemson within week two, he could have definitely played. But when you have depth at the offensive line position, you can, you know, make sure you guys are 100% fresh for the games that's really needed. Again, make sure you guys like this channel, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Anybody else want to join in the talk? Let's come on. Let's get it. Let's get it going. Get your takes off. Yeah. So I think within this next AP poll, we had Alabama lose to Texas, right? So I think we would be number three. Ohio State, won 35-7, if I'm not mistaken, against Youngstown State. I could see them possibly staying at two, but I can also see us jumping number two as well. But again, like I said, within the first couple weeks, who have been more impressive? Who has been more impressive than us? No one, right? You got the top five win against LSU. You dominate Southern Miss how you're supposed to. I truly believe that. I mean, I wouldn't be upset. It would be justified rather that FSU be number two in the rankings. I don't think we should be number one. Georgia should be number one until they lose, in my opinion. They're the two-time defending national champs, going for a three-peat. They should be number one until proven otherwise. But everyone else, though, I feel like FSU could definitely be number two. I wouldn't be surprised at it at all within this AP poll. But they'll probably be number three. Would be my guess with Alabama losing to Texas. So keep climbing in the polls. Again, we do what we have to do. None of these polls really mean a damn thing at this damn point. If you win week to week, we'll be fine. We'll be right where we need to be at season's end. And also that Miami game looks a little bit better from a strength of schedule standpoint. They look pretty good against Texas A&M. I really like the offensive coordinator. He's night and day versus Josh Gaddis, who was, to be quite honest, he was terrible for Miami. So Miami looked pretty good against Texas A&M. So that could be a tougher game, a better game for us, rather, from a strength of schedule standpoint. Still going to whip that shit in Doak Campbell Stadium. I promise you that. If you guys want to join the show for a call in, go ahead and hit that comment section. Let's chop it up for a second. Make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's NFL Sunday too, week one of NFL Sunday. So I know you guys will be tuned into the NFL games. Jeremiah Byers got beat a lot by speed rushers. Gets beat a lot by speed rushers. Sean, what Kentron Portier be? Kentron been hurt a little bit. He's been banged up this early portion of the season, so he should be getting back in rotation pretty soon. And again, that's only going to help the receiver core. Like I said, when you have depth like we have at the receiver room, you can not necessarily afford, but a guy like Johnny Wilson being off doesn't kill the entire offense because we have guys that can come in and make those plays as well. So to have those guys in the receiver room is definitely a blessing. What do we need to work on versus BC next week? I think timing. This timing within the offense. With the receivers and the quarterback, Jordan Travis was off a little bit, had some drop balls, and just a little bit better in pass pro. Those are the things, two things I think we need to work on. And run offense was a little shaky early, but got better on throughout the game. Shout out to Kelvin. Read this comment real quick. It's hard to even argue about 66, but we just look so out of whack. And I noticed that those early drop passes hurt our rhythm a lot more than I thought. Also, our defense played great. So pretty much the same thing I literally stated earlier. That's the beauty of it, though, right? We scored 66 damn points, but we're like, well, damn, we could be better here. We could be better. That just shows how good this team really could be. And we haven't seen the true potential of this 2023 FSU team. So I agree. We got a lot of stuff we get better on. But at the same time, that should be encouraging, right? That shouldn't be something we should be down on. We should be happy about that, encouraged, because we feel like this team could be a lot better. And this team has already showed, they're one of the best teams in the country, right? Do I see Duffy transferring? Shout out to Navy. No, I could see that happening. Just hearing the preseason hype in regards to not necessarily the preseason hype with Brock Glenn. I was very high on Brock Glenn coming out of high school, and he's been impressive since he stepped on campus. Confidence for himself, the throws he's made. You guys know how the situation goes nowadays with college football. It's you know, kids want and rightfully so, kids want to move on to situations where they could get on the field. So I could definitely see that happening. I wouldn't be surprised if we lost one quarterback, who that may be. I'm not 100% sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if we lost one quarterback due to the transfer portal. That's just the nature of the beast nowadays in college football. That's why it's imperative. It's very important that you try to take at least one quarterback each cycle, because that next cycle, that quarterback could be gone. It's just how it is nowadays. Kids aren't waiting 3 or 4 years to get their shot like it was in the '90s and things like that. Make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel. Last call before we wrap things up. If you guys want to go ahead and join the show to get your takes off, go ahead and hit the comment section and we'll get it going. Tanya, what's good? You there? You hear me? Yeah, I hear you. What's up? Talk to me. How you feeling? You hear me?
People some playtime. And actually, I'm glad that we got to see more of the depth chart. So I trust Mike. Those guys look good out there. Shout out to the running back room.
Mm.
Them boys are balling. So shout out to Yak for getting them boys straight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I got to say. I love y'all.
Love you too. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, that running back room definitely looked pretty damn good. All those guys got good carries. I'm really comfortable with all four running backs. At any situation in the game, I'm very comfortable. It's just like the receiver room, right? And it's just the depth we talked about. Something we haven't had within the last few years. In the FSU staff that's gloating on the depth. We see it all the time. The depth is amazing. Hey man, chill out, Reg. I don't, yeah, Mel Tucker, a wild boy, man, a real wild boy. Never go full Mel Tucker. Never go full Mel Tucker. Um, yeah, never go full Mel Tucker. But yeah, just the depth all around. The running back room is amazing. The receiver room is amazing. So anybody that we put in at receiver, running back, I'm comfortable with at any point in time of the game, big time games, things like that, because I feel like those guys are good enough to play.
Yo, CJ.
Yo, what's good? Talk to me, bro.
Hey, man, first and foremost, congrats on the podcast, man. Big fan of yours.
Appreciate it, bro.
Um, yeah, no problem. I just want to say, Pat Surtain, that hire, man, to me, I feel like it was the second best hire behind Atkins. Mike Norvell got us at receiver. We good at O-line with Atkins. And all we needed to get back to DBU was Pat Surtain, his recruiting, them boys making turnovers. I feel like that's what we were missing last year, in order to, be elite. Or I'd say be great. We were good last year, and now I feel like we're like on the verge of elite status. So, what's your thoughts on Conrad Hussey?
Man, I love Conrad. Man, he was one of my favorite gets down the stretch last cycle. Aggressive safety, playmaker, very good athlete. Just all the stuff I've been hearing preseason from how he's been practicing, things like that, kind of backs up the recruiting rankings and my take of being so excited by him. And we see why Miami wanted him hard down the stretch. We see why Penn State works so hard to keep his commitment. Kid is a playmaker. And it's crazy because he just got to campus in June or July. And I imagine I'm sorry, not IMG. St. Thomas don't let kids early enroll.
Oh, I
Imagine
didn't
if
know
you were
that.
the guy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying I didn't know that.
Yeah, IMG. I'm sorry, I keep saying IMG, but St.
Never
Thomas they don't
heard
let
that.
kids early enroll for whatever reason. But yeah, I love Conrad Hussey. If he would have came in the spring, man, he would have just been that much better. I think he's a future star for FSU. I think he's going to play a lot of snaps for us. I think you're going to see him in the regular rotation moving forward. The longer the season goes, we're going to see more playing time for Hussey. But I agree though, man. Sertan's been a home run hire from a recruiting standpoint, coaching standpoint, home run.
I agree, man. All right, I appreciate it, man. Take it easy.
Appreciate you. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel. You guys in here, go ahead and like it. I'm gonna take 2 seconds to show a little love. And is P Dub looking to get the off the field job? Seeing him a lot. No, you got Peter Ward Jr. Actually, he's currently a defensive back. He walked on the FSU, if I'm not mistaken. Transfer from what was it, Georgia State, if I'm not mistaken. They transferred from. If I'm wrong, forgive me. But no, he's currently on the FSU roster. Peter Ward Jr. So yeah, it was good hanging out with him. I saw him last night. Went to the Champions Club and kicked with him and Snoop Minnis and James Coleman for a second. So yeah, I was talking to Snoop, man, and it's really interesting what he said because that play where Johnny Wilson kind of, well, I'm sorry, not Johnny Wilson, Jordan Travis kind of underthrew FAU. That's right. Appreciate you. Appreciate the comments. FAU transfer from FAU, but the play where Dewspan, where Jordan Travis kind of underthrew Dewspan, he dropped that touchdown pass. After the play, of course, I don't think the game actually called us, but after the play, Snoop and Pete was coaching him up on the sideline and talking to him about, how do you play those situations, just trying to put the ball away real quickly once you grab it real quick. Um, so I spoke to the student about it after. He said it was pretty much all eye contact, yes sir, that type of deal, like locked in and understanding what it is and just being coachable at that point in time. And he, Snoop is not stupid. Snoop isn't a guy that's on snap. Pete isn't either, but just the respect of those guys and what they did for FSU in the past, they understand what it takes to, be good at this level and be good at FSU. So to soak in that, so Deuce was all ears in regards to soaking in that knowledge, knowing that you have these OGs that already did on the field. So that was pretty cool to hear Snoop say that in regards to those guys listening and being locked in and being in the moment. So that's pretty cool. I love seeing those guys around. And also we had Rodney Hudson at the game too. Shout out to Rodney Hudson. Just got inducted to the FSU Hall of Fame. He was on the sideline as well. So to see Hudson back, really good, man. Hudson was to all world offensive lineman for FSU and was one of the better offensive linemen for the Kansas City Chiefs and Oakland Raiders during his time. So shout out to Rodney Hudson. So we had a few guys back on campus for this Southern Miss game. That's one thing I will give Mike Norvell. Um, he welcomes those guys back. It's open arms for former players. Mike understands the standard. He understands what those guys did to build the program. So anytime they want to come back or be a part, it's like they never left the program. So that's one thing I will give Mike. That's pretty impressive in regards to being open to the former players being around the program. All right. We got anybody else? If not, we're going to wrap it up pretty soon. I think it was a pretty dope episode. Enrique, I don't think it's due. Success kind of factors into it, but also you got to have a head coach that's welcoming to it as well. Just going back to Jimbo was somewhat welcoming to it. Taggart really wasn't that welcoming to it. So they kind of you got to have coaches who want those former players back as well. So like I said, Norvell has been pretty much open arms and having those guys back. So it's a combination of success and also being wanted and welcomed back as well too. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this show up. It's been a dope episode of Dope Talk. Again, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. We got more content coming. We'll be going live on Wednesday. The time will be announced pretty soon. And we'll be talking about Boston College. We'll try to get a Boston College guy on here to get some insight on the Eagles going into this road game for FSU. Go Noles.